Joining us now is James Billot, Newsroom editor at UnHerd. James, great to see you. Thank you for joining us again. We're just 2 days away from Liberation Day in America, where a number of tariffs will be announced to fulfil the administration's ambitious economic agenda. We know that automakers are bracing for Trump's 25% tariffs on vehicles and parts made outside of the US. Now, Trump says that automakers are going to be making a lot of money, and this is what he had to say this morning.
Whatever they charge us, we charge them, but we're being nicer than they were. We have a lot of countries, friend and foe. I always say friend and foe, but the friend in many cases is worse than the foe. They took advantage of us, and we are going to be very nice by comparison to what they were. The numbers will be lower than what they've been charging us, and in some cases maybe substantially lower, but we sort of have a world obligation perhaps. But we're going to be very nice. Relatively speaking, we're going to be very kind.
James, what's the feeling over in the US about the tariffs?
Well, a lot of people just seem to be jumping to conclusions already. The tariffs haven't even come into effect, and yet people are already casting judgment on the president. I think we just need to wait and see what unfolds. I think, for starters, people tend to assume that tariffs are just some kind of economic tool that are used to just get some more leverage from the other country. But actually, it's also a way of enacting other types of policies. So, for instance, if you look at Mexico, if you look at Canada, less so Canada, but more so Mexico, there is a real problem with things like fentanyl trafficking and China dumping.
Yes.
And this kind of policy is exactly how you seek to unwind that. So I think there's a lot of attention being given to what Trump's tariffs will do to automakers and all that kind of thing. But I think we just need to wait and see. I think the funny thing is that he used to get attacked in his first term for slavishly following the stock market and heralding any kind of gain in the stock market as his own. And this time he's ignoring it and he's getting criticized for the exact opposite. So it's hard to get a read on this.
Yeah, excellent point. Look, we've seen the wave of violent attacks against Tesla, and there have been even more protests over the weekend, not as violent, thank goodness. But these protests, they've been known as Tesla takedowns. They were planning a global day of protests targeting more than 500 Tesla locations around the world, many of them targeted in America. But is it just me, or are the protests getting even weirder? Take a look at this. Oh, James, what do you make of it?
I mean, it's actually just a bit pathetic. It's clearly people with a bit too much time on their hands and nothing better to do. I do think it's quite funny when you've got all these protesters holding up swastika signs, and on the other side is an electric vehicle brand. And it's a weird contrast when you have left-wing groups dancing to groovy music, protesting the rise of Nazism in America, and then making a kind of jingle out of it. It's a weird place that we're in. But I also found that the sparse numbers that we saw in each of these locations probably goes to show that a lot of the public aren't really with them on this. And
yeah.
I just want to emphasize the fact that why they think this is the right idea, burning cars, terrorizing factories as a way to protest someone's political opinion, it's just plain wrong. And it's exactly the wrong approach. And the final thing I'd say about it is that the left were very quick to condemn Trump over January 6th and the behavior of some of the protesters that day. And yet they seem to tacitly or otherwise endorse exactly what's going on here. So there's a bit of hypocrisy going on that I can't help but note.
Absolutely. Hypocrisy from the left. We're seeing it once again.